100,000 on my name, persuaded my fiance to borrow another 100,000, put 250K into investments in Bitcoin mining and
Wow.
binary options, call and put options, which are stock derivatives and super high risk, super high return. But then the problem is the platforms that I use for the binary options were scams. So they mirrored the market and then they pull the strings behind the scenes. Long story short, I lost everything in 6 months. And that got me on a soul searching journey, flying 16,000 kilometers away to South America, Chile, to cycle alone for 3 months while looking for who am I, what am I going to be if I don't want to be a doctor, because at that point in time I felt like I don't want to do this anymore.
Join us in the realm of holistic human, where we explore the essential elements that empower us to flourish, revealing our hidden potential and nurturing our growth.
In response to what you just said, I totally relate because all along my life, I also felt that I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. And then I envy people who are specialists and they know really in depth. But then, although I envy them, I don't want to be them. It's very hard to explain. I want to have a breadth of things that I can apply at different junctures for different situations. I don't want to be a specialist because I heard of this specialized to the point of general incompetence. It's not a very nice term, but if you look at how systems work and organizations work, when you are super specialist, you become one screw in the entire thing, and then you are replaceable. You are just that one cog, and then, oh, okay, no good. Let me replace you because specialists are replaceable. But if you are a sort of a generalist with breadth of knowledge and you have different touch points, you are the linchpin at different points, right? You are very hard to replace. Not to say that I want to be irreplaceable or something, but I just feel that way I can bring more value. And when you say that, it feels, yes, that's right. And also because of the breadth of things I picked up along the way, it's also, I'm also one instinct on many things. But what helps is now I'm being able to create frameworks of understanding and application. And when people come to me with problems, with more and more people, then I refine the things better and better. It becomes easier and easier to apply, faster and faster to get results. And I feel that, and thank you for reflecting that process. I think it's lovely and good to know that there are people who are applying it this way. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to you also. I'm sure you are very humble. So I have watched your podcast, that's the one that you have forwarded it to me, and I would think that you are definitely more than one inch thick. Yeah, and I'm sure there has been a lot happening that had happened to you, on you, to you, and through you. Yeah, so it's just, and I think that is probably the theme that you have chosen to be on this life. Choose not to be a specialist. That is probably your strength. Yeah, and you are able to put people together, experts, professionals, all in your tribes, sharing with you. Like the lady in the podcast, I'm sure she's very successful in her own trade. Yet both of you are able to share spirituality so beautifully.
Thank you.
So I think we need more people like this, the conversation like this. Yeah, so that it becomes that there is a point of time that the mass is big enough, the hope is big enough to go over the tipping point. I think that is the way to go.
We need to gather a critical mass of like-minded people to create that, to make this mainstream in a way.
In
to
a
our
way,
roots.
yes. So every bit of effort, every conversation or discussions really counts, I think. In my perspective.
Yes, I truly agree. And just to elaborate a little bit thing about what you said, that in this life, I chosen not to be a specialist, right? This brings me to my first quarter life crisis at age of 24 back in 20. Oh no, I was 27. I was first year medical officer, and I was in the nephrology department of Sedang Hospital in Malaysia. And for some weird reason, the head of department gave me an ultimatum one day out of the blue, and he says that you will forever stay in my department unless you become a specialist here or you quit. And I just felt so super duper trapped. I felt super duper trapped that what if I don't want to be a specialist? Because I want to experience more different specialties before I decide, even if I want to be a specialist. And my overarching feeling is I don't want to. And then that made me feel like I needed to escape. And then so I decided that, okay, I need to get financial independence now. So I won't be stuck or be a slave to any system that is at the age of 37. So crazily, I hatched an idea that I'm going to, invest and get fast returns so I can get rid of all these things. So I gathered $50,000 on my own, borrow 100,000 on my name, persuaded my fiance to borrow another 100,000, put 250K into investments in Bitcoin mining and
Wow.
binary options, call and put options, which are stock derivatives and super high risk, super high return. But then the problem is the platforms that I use for the binary options were scams. So they mirrored the market and then they pull the strings behind the scenes. Long story short, I lost everything in 6 months. And that got me on a soul searching journey, flying 16,000 kilometers away to South America, Chile, to cycle alone for 3 months. While looking for who am I? What am I going to be if I don't want to be a doctor? Because at that point in time, I felt like I don't want to do this anymore. And then how to settle that amount of money, I don't know. But I felt that once I find myself, I can sort out the money part. And just a little extension of that. So the first 6 weeks of that journey was excruciating pain because there's lots of self-loading, self-criticism, self-immolation. And I will be crying or cycling and I can't see the road, I need to stop. And then I had to go back on the cycling again, averaging 70 to 90 kilometers a day with 40 kg of stuff. And it was lonely, it was painful, but that allowed my mind to sort itself out. And I lost 7 kgs of weight, I was sick. But at the juncture of 6 weeks, I said that I have enough of this. I can't go on anymore like this. And I need to step out of this loop that I created for myself. And then I decided to forgive myself. And when that happened, it felt like the universe shone a cone of light on me. And then it told me that you go here. And then I've never heard this after that, I knew it was intuition. I never knew this voice or this knowing what it is. So I decided to try it out. Hey, I was led to this person who gave me words of wisdom, and then boom, my mind has opened. And then it led me to the second person. And by the third person, the left brain starts creeping in. The logical mind starts creeping in. What is this? What is this? Let me do experiments. Let me test it out. And then I went against all those thoughts and knowings. And then things didn't pan out that well. I said that, I guess this is for my best interest. And I decided to lean in. When I leaned in, a lot of beautiful things started. Like creating a flow, like a river, and everything just flowed. It goes back to what you described in the beginning. Yeah, so yes, I didn't want to be a specialist, and I felt trapped when I'm forced to take up a certain role, which I think maybe it's not me. And I've tried to escape medicine many times. At O level, at A levels. After A levels, I applied 3, so I had 8 options for my tertiary studies. First 3, medicine, marine biology, forestry, computer science, environmental conservation. Yeah, so those are my options. And then I applied to University of Wales, Bangor in UK for marine biology, and I got the spot. So I was in medical school waiting, like, when can I get out of medical school? I want to go to University of Wales, Bangor to study marine biology. But then the cost was too high, so it became cheaper to study medicine. And that's how I completed it. And that being said, family, that is a doctor, 3 other brothers, non-doctors. The mental drops on my shoulders, and I was brought up expecting that I would just shoulder this. So then I made a lot of different escapades, but it didn't really go on through until 2023. After 2 years of burnout, then I stepped through. Yeah, and since then, I think on this journey where I'm fulfilling my purpose, things are starting flowing, and then I feel that I can do more things now. And now I'm not boxed in by the system, and it feels exhilarating. And I feel like, oh yes, now I have a role model, Reverend Fong, and then I can do a lot of things. Yes. Shit, Serena, thank you so much.
No, I enjoy listening to your story. It's very beautiful. It sounded like an evolution
Mm.
of growth. And a lot of people, I would have to say that a lot of people may have also gone through such an evolution, but somehow they might not be able to have the mental capacity like you to put it so holistically and so well, eloquently. So perhaps, yeah, I think you might have you might have got it. You have really pointed it right that whatever you have experienced, uh, you are supposed to spread it out.
Mm. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So having you being a specialist, which means that you will be limited to one area. In fact, it may be do an injustice to your gift.
Oh, thanks for bringing it.
Yeah, because I think everyone has a different function
Mm.
in this world.
Yes.
Some meant to be a very, I would say, a master in his or her profession, but he or she might not be blessed with the gift of language or words. So he or she will have to show the workmanship, the effect of it,
Mm.
the final product. But perhaps your role is not meant to be that. But perhaps you are the one that you're supposed to put sparkles in everywhere. It is when you talk to, I would say, a neurosurgeon, all his life might be in just that realm. But as he talked to you, you might be able to bring something different into his field. And if he or she is open-minded enough, having the same resonance like with you, he might just get it. And it may then be whatever you have mentioned, your ideas, your belief, could be the sparks to his next milestone.
Mm.
We never know.
Mm.
We never know. Yeah, but I guess you're on the definitely on the right track. Is whenever you have the opportunity, you share. You share what you have learned, your experience, and people start to think, oh, okay, that happened to me too. Perhaps then I should take this direction like you did. So I guess might be you probably will be the one that put all the seeds everywhere, wherever you go, like the Johnny Apple seed. Yeah, we will just do not know where would the seed end up with, but we don't care. It doesn't matter, right? It's like our job is I share in a way because I, as you have seen from my profile, is I literally go into different area. I never think that I could draw, but I started to have my own art exhibition, even though my work isn't going to be like beautiful. But that's not what I
Yes.
want to. Yeah, not those. Oh, when I look at it, I can understand what the artist is painting. It looks so soothing, calming, etc. No, I don't go for that. But because I know that there is a very strong intention behind what I want to deliver in my art. So it becomes that when people look at it, they will feel that, if Levon can do that, why not me? And also I will literally be the, what I would say is that
Kickstarter or
Kickstarter, yeah. Yeah, a spark starter. So what? Yeah, correct. So whatever we call it. So and at the end of the day, when these people who had this interaction with us and seeing or knowing what we have communicated and built, use that to be something that could allows them to move further up. So I think our job is done.
Francis. Oh, can you tell me more
Yeah,
about the story about that person that you said that practice everywhere? Maybe there's a lesson for me there.
Oh, okay. Basically, as I said, this is just something that I could just remember. This man called Johnny Appleseed. So he wanted to plant apples in different part of America, if I'm not wrong.
Mm.
Yeah. So he was a legend, and he started to really walk and get the apple seeds to be planted in different part of America. Yeah. So this was like a story that will be shared with the elementary students in America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's called
I'll-
Johnny Appleseed, something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. So literally just now, I hope I didn't break your train of thought. You wanted to continue.
Not to, it's okay. We just say spontaneous. But I guess, yeah, because from what I'm hearing from you is you are not supposed to be tied to just one place. Just put it this way. Yeah, if you decided to, and if the decision is made by your logical mind, then usually it's going to be backfire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
so that's what I will see. The trend is repeats and repeats itself. But I'm so happy that you have come out of it. Yeah, that's so good to know. Yeah,
Thank you.
that's so good to know. Yeah.
Thank you. And the part where you say planting the seed so that elevate someone's from where they are to a higher level of what they can do. My
Yes.
recent third spiritual awakening, the message that I got, or the knowing that I got, was that there is divinity in each of us. And then that divinity is always there, but then it can be smothered because life happens, because of events, trials, tribulations, or distractions. And sometimes we have that light within us and we ourselves don't see it. And it takes another person to reflect that light through a mirror back to us. Then only we can see that light. And that's why no one is an island, and we need each other to elevate each other, to bring out the brightness in each other. And giving the example, it feels that, oh, I really could do something. Let me help people. Let me be that mirror to shine that light back to other people so that they can see their potential. And that feels empowering for me. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. It's very well said. Yeah, very well said. I think I guess the condition for being a mirror, if that's the case, it has to be very objective.
Yeah. And then the mirror.
Non-judgmental.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the function of the mirror.
Yeah,
What's the function of the mirror?
Yeah, the mirror has to be clear to be able to reflect the right stuff, or else.
Correct. It has to be one-to-one. So all the more it is very important for the mirror to be really clear of as much of blockages
Yes.
and filters as possible. Yeah, I think that is the function of the mirror. Just put it this way.
And,
okay.
And being able to step into what I would call my power, for lack of a better term, has much to do with the recent retreat pilgrimage that was completed, where I underwent another ego death and then resurrection by lying the sarcophagus. And at that point in time, I could shed a lot of shame and guilt and another round of self-love. But this time is again tied to that specialist thing again. Is that specialist per se, but now I am a betrayer of the system because I elected to step out of medicine. And now I'm talking about all sorts of cool stuff, about spirituality, about energy medicine, about everything that my colleague would sneer or roll their eyes. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, so there's this a lot of loaded feelings that I feel that, how will they look at me? How will they perceive me? Am I an outcast and whatever? But recently I've been able to shed that and I felt much lighter, and I have a little bit of devil may care attitude, but I think it's in a good way.
I'm very happy to say that, to hear that.
Yeah, and that has been really helpful.
Yeah, I think previously, I think in the earlier part of my exploration with spirituality, I would just have to also say that whenever I talk to people who are very logical, they will just roll their eyes because they will not understand what I'm talking about, for example. So I could actually resonate the conversation between you and your guests in the previous broadcast. However, going through and where I am now, I'm happy to say that over the past 1 to 2 years, due to the social media, due to a lot of people starts to talk about mindfulness, talk about how we can change our own inner reality using some of the spirituality, but backed up by mystic scientists, for example. So things become more common. All this they heard that before. So it is they no longer feel strange about that. However, there is, but however, the line is, that is a very obvious line, is that we can discuss anything. How, no matter how ridiculous it's going to sound like, whether they understand it or not understand it. However, there's this very important line is that we must never bring this kind of conversation into the professional realm, which they are professional in. Yeah.
Yeah.
However, if we step away from that, a person, just two friends discussing and sharing stories and sharing obstacles, like sharing solutions, then they will have a different way of reacting or responding.
Yes.
So I guess it's really, I guess right now at this point of time, people with very logical mindset, highly educated in a way, they are still living in, I would just imagine that they are actually having two very distinct phases. One is being in their professional circle. That is probably their identity, their personality, their ego, etc. However, within them, there is something that could be making them curious. And that is where then they will be able to discuss on this. So I guess right now is a matter of discussion, a lot of communications, a lot of discussion, a lot of applications to make things so much so that seeds is being planted. And eventually, when they need that kind of information, they will know who to go to. So I guess right now that is the phase that we are actually working on. Yeah, because I would just have to say that a lot of people that come to me, most of the time is they have run out of all the conventional means. And they have no choice but to fall back to metaphysical means. I think that would then be the opportunity that I would have the opportunity to work with this person. And then, yeah, and that's where then he or she will start to open up. So I guess it's a process. Right? Yeah. So for me is now. So that is where then I am quite blessed in the sense that whatever I'm doing right now, it happens to be something that most professionals, they are not dealing with. So for example, when we talk about is like art, community work, spirituality, alternate therapies, that kind of thing, they are not expert in that sense. So in this case, when they are appreciating my work, they are able to take a step back and see, oh, got such thing. So in this case, I would say is that I'm actually taking the avenue of the least resistant way to reach out to them, to connect with them. And a lot of time, I still believe that as long as the product or the creations is really coming from the heart, or the universal values of compassion, empathy, love, peace, that kind of universal values, no matter this person, whether he or she is logical or not, in some way, there will be some resonance. I'm sure. It's just that the resonance could be on the subtle plane, which he or she, which his physical or her physical self doesn't even aware of it. So to me, life is a matter of resonance and harmonics. It's just about that. So if I'm not able to have a resonance with this physical being, for example, but I'm sure in some way I will be able to touch his or her other planes of nature. And I think my work has accomplished.
Beautiful. What I learned from your share, right, that will be applicable to myself or reflecting what I'm just experiencing, is that previously, I think that case that you saw with Dr. Kashini, It was about 6 months ago. And at that time, I still had, from the guilt, fear, and shame that I had this thing that I had something to prove. And I had this thing, basically, I'm a prickly ball. And I like, professionals, look at this thing, look at this thing. And it was just probably too iron-fisted. And then it's like, why are you threatening my realm of view? Probably people, maybe solid people who who just have one view of things. But to be able to create that safe space to not talk about the professional stuff, but then talk about the personal space, and maybe through your art and through the work that you do, it's like putting the velvet cover on the Iron Fist. And I don't know why I chose the word Iron Fist. It's not an Iron Fist at all. But anyway, to be able to offer it in a more palatable manner, more acceptable in their realm, and then start the discussion from there. And whenever they are ready, then we can bring it to the next level and the next level, probably stepping into the professional space and look at how actually, for example, a medical doctor can bring mindfulness into his practice, into his discussion with his patients who is encountering stress, inflammation, and everything. But first, probably changing that person on a personal level, and then they will bring this into their interactions with their own patients. And that is, I will see that gentle approach is going to be the way that works. And I believe where I was wrong in the sense was that I was trying too hard. And now it's flow. Is no, don't try too hard, don't push too hard. Let things flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Awesome. Yeah. I would just say that whatever you have just mentioned, allow things to flow, is truly amazing, and is definitely very wise. It's really, I would say, a gem or part of your wisdom in that perspective. Yeah, I totally share with you. Especially to me, I feel that in our today's world, a lot of people around us, they have been things has been so versatile or volatile
mm,
in a way that sense of security is no longer there. And a lot of us has been integrated our belief,
mm,
our profession, our identities
mm,
as part of our being.
mm,
If I were to go into a hard way and telling them that my way works, why don't you take my way? It's going to be very hard for the other party because we are talking about denying his being, denying his identity, denying whatever that he has been held on for so long. And taking away that, there is no more security and what's left. So I went through that stage in a way that sometimes I would just think, I thought it's pretty obvious that my way work. Why do you have to go through this and eventually you are going to end up using what I'm going to tell you? Why do you have to go through that hard way? But through over the years, I realized that it is really very cruel to have them to strip them off from what is left. And there's no other security or the collateral. So that's why for ever since COVID, the COVID period, pandemic period, gave me a good space for my internal reflection. And after COVID, I started to come out of my, I would say, my own, what do you call that, reflection.
mm,
So I started to face the world again. For that 2 years, like I think 2019 was pandemic, 2020 we started to get out of that space, and 2020 and 2021 give me it's a period of turbulence, because I realized that things, when I get off my reflection, I thought I would be ready. I thought that I would be like, I have been doing my meditation, I have mental clarity, etc., right? I should be able to face the world without a lot of resistant reaction. However, 2020 and 2021, I think the one up there decided to give me test. And then I discovered that, oh, I'm still not there yet because I'm still reacting. But what is different, what you were saying just now, you're mentioning just now that facing the similar challenge, that you have to start to clear, to cleanse, to cleanse yourself, to clear yourself of whatever that has still remain. So it gave me very good opportunities for me to start cleansing, do internal cleansing. I learned a lot of skills through my spiritual teachers, whether it's through podcasts or through my readings or through courses. I started to gain different techniques, from breathing to using like
Ho'oponopono.
supplements.
Oh.
The Ho'oponopono also, and all these things. And amazingly, I started to integrate them and apply. And I would just say is that without those 2 years, I would still be having quite hard time, having quite high sense of ego, and a very strong sense of personality or polarity, etc. But I guess right now I'm a better person in that sense. Closer, I would say a step closer to maybe what the source
Mhm.
wants me to do. Yeah, a step
Beautiful.
closer.
Beautiful. Thank you for your
Yeah.
vulnerable share. Okay.
Yeah, but I guess it's really a process. So right now, what I really want to also put it a point across is that previously, everybody, including our parents or our earlier generations, had always been telling us that sufferings is a must. So that without suffering, we won't know pleasure. That is actually on the basis of polarity. So the next question then I would think of is, I'm sure there is a way to transcend polarity, which is transcends the cause and effect of time, right? So having said that, then if I were to live in the spiritual time, what would I have done? I might not have awakening. I might not have expansion in my awareness, like what people has been going through very dramatically. But to me, if I were to live in a spiritual time, there is no beginning and ending, right? So then, what is ultimately, if the source were to become a person figure, how would he or she would be presenting himself? If I were to look at our nature, the sun up there, if now he becomes a person character, living in the linear time, but able to transcend through spiritual time, how would he have lived? It's very simple. Just be a good person. So do we have to go through all the sufferings for us to gain universal values to become a good person? We don't have to. We can start to be a nice person, a good person of universal value. And if this has become our beginning instead of the end, isn't it we have already been living ahead of time?
Yes. Yes.
So having said that, I would just think that are we making things too hard for ourselves? That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, so there are some interesting questions that I will always have after listening to like my spiritual teachers. They are scientists, but then the questions that the reasonings, etc., it just really fit in. So in my way of the easiest ways to present it, I think long thing, short thing, long, just be a human being, and a human being. That's all. That's all.
Okay, I have some thoughts on that, but let me cycle back to the part where you mentioned that because of the volatility that people are experiencing, there is no safety, and then that identity it marries into the 5-tier Maslow hierarchy, which is
Yes.
the physiological needs, the belonging, the self-esteem. And when that's taken to the core, we are not giving them any space, and then they would feel like a need to defend or the need to probably escape from whatever we're trying to tell them. And the part where you mentioned that when we are in that space, that why don't you do this our way, because we know our way is better. I'm giving you the shortcut. Why are you not listening to me? But I guess in certain sense, it's like they have the lessons that they need to learn, and sometimes we can't hasten their growth. Like we can't a young plant to make it grow taller, or we can't break the cocoon so the butterfly emerges faster. I guess that's the lesson for me. And the part where you mentioned, why not we transcend and just be a good person, and then that would have bypassed the suffering. What I think here, linking back to the two things I just mentioned, is that this person, it would be hard to have, for example, the feelings of compassion and empathy if they have not gone through some form of pain, some form of suffering. Then only they could see, so this is what it feels like. And after that, they become, oh, now I understand what these other people are feeling, and I want to help because I've been through that phase. So I guess maybe that's also one thing, that maybe that's why nullifying karma or transcending space time is not so easy, because everyone has this journey, and then to be a better person, we probably, in my case, I feel that all those things were for me, all the bad things, all the transformation were for me, so that I could image better, brighter, and the lotus that emerges through the pond. Not to say I'm a lotus or anything, but that it felt like a necessary process, and then now I could be more humane, less judgmental and prescriptive, and more accepting and compassionate. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure I totally agree with what you say. Is everything that has happened
Mm.
is all experience. It's just a form of experience.
Yeah.
So as you have mentioned, such experiences will allow us to uncover our strength within. So the strength or the gift. So I totally agree with you. I just want to step aside and
Mm.
for the Maslow
Mm.
model, have you actually read there was this 8 stage? Because I remember
Yes.
there were 7 stages,
I think
right?
there's an expanded tier.
Yeah. So it was a pity that this was not make
Mainstream.
it a common.
Uh-huh.
And it's only through the elderhood then people will start to figure out and starts to find it. But I guess that's also meant to be a way. So I totally agree with you that that's the reason also I would also want to bring up the perspective that in the past, when I was, like I said a few years ago, when I was like frustrated, why people don't listen to me, etc.
I we shouldn't say it. I totally understand.
Okay, so for me, actually, I take a step back. Especially, I do have my 2 children. So they are really my good teachers, very good reflection. I come to realize for myself is when I thought that I was in the position or situations that people should think of to use my way, in a way, that perspective. Actually, subconsciously, I have already been judgmental in a way that I thought my way is a better way, which means that their way is a lesser way.
Thank you for pointing that out. I now see. Yeah.
Yeah. So having said that, then I realized that is definitely not the perspective I would have taken, because always are the same. It will lead to the same end. That's it.
All roads
So
lead to
if
Rome.
so if I could understand that now, that also explain why that, okay, if someone, when I listen to someone and it doesn't seem that he or she is going to take my perspective, then I would just feel that, okay, that is a reason for him to go through what he's going through right now. So as you said, I cannot deprive him of that experience. Because he understand doesn't mean that he experienced it. It's different.
Mm.
Yeah, so I think that is one way that is a good reminder for me all the time. It's like the universe will never make a mistake. Never.
Mhm.
It has created beautiful nature, complex systems. What makes us think that it has made a mistake? There is no reason.
Mm.
There is no mistake at all. So having said that and knowing that the person is going to be capable of using his or way to go to reach his own goal, I think the most important thing is he has to own it. He
Mm.
has to own his experience. He has to own his way.
Yes.
So I
Yes.
think the ownership has become very important.
Yes. What a nice word to sum it up. Ownership. Yeah. Taking ownership of the experience. Yeah. Taking
Yeah.
responsibility of the experience. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Thank you to my children as well, because I have been like nagging them for 10 over years. And only for the past few years, I started to like, oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, probably. Yeah, they're telling me something that I should take note. Yeah. So there are a lot of opportunities for me to actually do self-reflect. Yeah, in a way. So it's very thank you to them. Yeah. But however, which yes, I agree with you. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be easy. But I'm sure we'll find a way out, because I'm sure you already know that. I'm not sure whether you agree with it, but I truly believe that past, present, future, they are all on the same plane,
Mm.
existing all at the same time.
Mm.
It is only as what my teacher has said.
Mm.
It is our experiences, our possibilities
Mm.
in our current time space
Mm.
is just like a binder.
Mm.
The time is just like a binder, binding our experiences
Mm.
all in a sequential order.
Mm.
That's why we have cause and effect.
Mm.
However, which if I believe that everything happening at the same time, that is as good as telling me that the binder is going to be removed
Mhm.
out of time space, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So then, what is the relationship among all these experiences?
Mm.
So it's all about resonance.
Mm. Yeah. I've
So yeah, is
uh,
that correct? So I
have
think
Mhm.
yeah. So I think the problem is that what do we want to resonate with?
Mm.
Do we want to resonate our pain, the pain, and make it a common factor of resonance among our past, present, future, or we decide to choose to resonate at a higher frequency? So I think that is the choice that we can make.
Mm. Mm. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Raising our vibes is it is key. Raising our resonance so that we attract the things that will serve us and make us grow. And the time bit of things, I have gotten past the idea that time is an arrow or time is a river that flows one direction. I haven't I haven't come to terms with time past present being the same point, but I am able to accept that time is being a spiral, and probably with a few years more, I think I will come to that realization that past future is on the same dot. But I'm not there yet. Looking forward to that point. Yeah.
I will strongly recommend you to probably you might want to take a read on Dr. Dan Siegel, Daniegel.
Yes.
He has this branch called interpersonal neurobiology.
Mm.
And his basis is on this. He has the Trinity Triangle.
Mm.
You can read more about that. And he use it, of course, he use it on a more quantum basis.
Mhm.
But he is really very good to put that perspective in a very scientific manner. I will have to say that he is my very good foundation teacher.
Mm.
In bringing me this concept. I would say this thing, and I think also synchronicity starts to come in
Mm.
Then I start to have more teachers bringing me all the informations, a lot of information, so that I could actually integrate. And this become a very powerful tool for me, because if I'm working on resonance, if I'm talking about present, past, and future, we are all resonating at a common frequency, for example, which means that I would just have to imagine that I'm just one of a fragment of the oversoul, just one little soul of our oversoul, right? If this oversoul is having thousands of experiences or soul with it, if I'm able to resonate, which means that I will have the blessing of all my other soul peers to give me the support that I need. So imagine if I want to resonate at a frequency of joy in my project. It's not talking about just me alone, but will have the support of all my soul peers of the oversoul. And that is very amazing. This is just like a hypothetical concept. Of course, I won't be able to prove it. However, if we were to take one step further, if at this frequency, we are resonating, right? And working on higher harmonics, this is infinity. And where would it be reaching? It will be infinity. And if we were to resonate at the frequency of joy, for example, that's very amazing. But however, if we choose, we are living in an unconscious manner, but resonate at the frequency of pain, for example, the same will works as well, right? So when I try to imagine and configure, and it become a very obvious choice to make, because I'm pretty gasu, right? I was like, okay, I will just assume that it exists. So I better take the safe side, or on the safe side, and really take the path that I want to. Yeah. So I think that makes my life so much easier in a way. I hope I didn't I didn't confuse you.
No, not at all.
Bring you to circles.
I was just going to share about this resonance, and I'm sure you've seen this. You've seen this graph by
Yes.
or panel by Dr. David
Yes.
Hawkins.
David Hawkins. Yes.
Yeah, and then when we were talking about the Maslow's 8 tier with the added cognitive and aesthetics, and the highest tier is transcendence, which is also
Yes.
this enlightenment, which is the infinity consciousness. And hopefully we
Yes.
all find our way there in different means and different ways, but that's where we need we aim to get to. And I think we have a lot more to talk about transcendence, the concept of the oversoul. But today is all the time that we have podcast, because I have another appointment at 12:30, and then we complete 1 hour. I wouldn't take more of your time, but definitely more to discuss with you, Dr. Reverend Li Fong, and a lot to learn from you. And this has been a truly enjoyable conversation and enlightening for me.
Me too. Yes. It's a very mutual feeling. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for being my mirror, and hopefully I could be your mirror. Yeah.
For sure. Yes. Thanks. Very blessed to have you.
Yeah,
To have
same.
this discussion as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
namaste.
Namaste. Okay. Goodbye. Good night.
Good night.
And good morning.
We'll follow up again. Okay.
Sure.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
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 Thank you for watching. Please hit the subscribe, like and bell button to stay updated in our latest videos. Thank you.